Hello everyone. So now we'll be writing the code, Python code as well as the SQL queries to have our Python program to connect to the SQL database, MySQL database. So our application our project will be a very simple one. We'll be having three tables, one for admin, one for student, one for teacher. And the admin table will have the admin ID, admin name, and admin password. Admin can add a student, delete a student, update a student, and similarly admin can add teacher, delete teacher, update teacher. So whenever admin adds student, entry will be added in the student database, student table. When admin deletes a student, the student will be deleted from the table. Same for the teacher. The student will have a student ID that will be the unique primary key. So all the IDs, admin ID, student ID, and a teacher ID, these are the primary keys to uniquely identify a student or a teacher in a table or admin. The student will have ID, roll number, name, class, phone, and address. Teacher will have a teacher ID, name, salary, phone, address. So we'll start the code. We'll open VS Code. We'll create a new file and we'll save this file as, we'll just give the name main.py. This will be our main program. And just to see our Python is set up and working, we'll print something, hello, and we will run, go to run without debugging, that is control.F5. So to run a Python program, we will be using control plus F5. Click here and you can see it is running and it has printed hello. The same thing, if I press control F5, it is also doing the same. It is running the program. Now, to simplify our program, we will not write everything in one Python file. There's something called, we'll have this code if underscore name equals to underscore main underscore. If this matches, we will call our start function. This is not defined, we'll be defining it now. So def start colon, and we'll print to see if this works. Print in start. Now, when you run a Python program, it will start executing from the very beginning, from the first line. So first it will print hello. Next, it will find that there is a function definition. So function definition is different than the calling a function. So it is just a definition. So Python will see line number 3 and 4, there is a function definition. It will compile the function and keep it in some place. Now, from here, Python will see if name equals to main. That means this is the Python file which we have ran. Then it will call this function. So it will call the start function. We'll run it, control F5. See, first hello got printed, then it went at the end and it called the start function, and you can see there's mstart. Now we will be using input to get the input from the console, and we'll start our program by having some print statement. We'll say welcome admin, please enter your ID. We'll ask this from the admin, and we'll define a variable admin ID, and we'll get this value from the input. Now whatever whatever is input, that will be stored in input ID. We'll just print and check till here if our program works fine. Admin plus admin ID. So this one will printing one string admin, and after that will be appending admin ID. We'll save this, control F5. Now you can see this hello is printed, and after that our start function is called from here. In start, first line welcome admin into your ID, and it is waiting for your ID. I'll add 1001, enter. You can see after we press enter, it got here admin ID got printed after that. So our input is working fine. Now next what we'll ask is once admin will enter the ID, we will ask for the password. Tell me your password. Now welcome, please enter password for user for admin ID what was entered earlier, and we can there's a string format method that we can use now, dot format. So and here we'll be adding the placeholder variable. So we'll run it and then we'll explain how this works. So you can see it asks welcome admin, and then it asks for the ID. So whatever ID was input, we use the input to get it. I entered 1001. It was it was saved in admin ID. Then I printed, and I'm again asking please enter the password for the admin ID, and this is a placeholder where we wanted to insert the value of admin ID. So this is the entire string, the selected one, and when you do a dot format, you will look for this curly braces, and it will substitute the value of the admin ID from this variable inside here, and that's what you got at the bottom. Now after that we will look for admin password. That is again we'll ask for another input for admin password. Next step would be, so here hash is for comment. This won't be executed. Check for the admin password in database, MySQL database, that we'll be doing, and if it is fine, then the admin can proceed further. So let's see how we are going to use MySQL database in order to read the data or update the data. You can check our previous video where I have shown how to install Python and how to install MySQL. So MySQL I already installed. So I'll search for MySQL. Workbench I'll open. And okay, Windows 7. I'll just delete this. I'm already having a connection. I will delete the connection and I will show you how this works. Delete connection. So when you install MySQL, first thing you open, you'll have something like this. Welcome to MySQL Workbench. You click on plus and you click on new connection, any name. Here I'm giving my project, and the password will be the password that you gave while installing it. I've given my password 123 that I'm giving here, and I'll test it. So it connected to the SQL connection successfully. Okay. Now my project was there. Now I'll be just let me copy schema. Now you have this Sakila sys word already available there when you install it. Then you'll have a window to write your query. Like you can write your query here, select all from world schema dot city table, and then you can click on this, run it. You can see it queried the city table. It already has some data. So what you can do, you can create a schema for your project. Right click here, create schema, and we'll have it my project, and just give the name and apply. So it is equivalent of running this SQL statement, create schema my project. We'll apply it, finish. So you can see my project schema got created. Now what I'll do is I'll create a new table here. You can do it via this SQL command as well, but using this user interface, it would be much easier. And this will also show what command you need to run if you want to create a table via SQL statement. So I'll click on create table, and I'll have this admin table, and the first column would be admin ID. It will be int. It will be a primary key, and it shouldn't be a null value, not null. It's a primary key, belongs to primary key. Next would be admin name. It's a varchar 45 character, that's fine. It shouldn't be a null again. And admin password, varchar, it shouldn't be a null. So this will, this is the admin table that we discussed earlier. Click on apply. Now this is the SQL statement. So if you don't want to use the workbench, you can just type it, create table, my project, this is the schema dot the table name admin, and the column name admin ID, which is a type integer, and it shouldn't be null. And then the next column would be admin name. It should be a character, varchar of 45 length. It shouldn't be null. Admin password same, 45 up to 45 characters. It shouldn't be null. And we are adding a constraint that admin ID should be a primary key. So primary key, that means it cannot be duplicate. This should be a uniquely identified key. You cannot have two admin ID with the same value. So click on apply, and you can see, I'll just close this. Under my project, this admin table got created. So if you look for the column, it has admin ID, admin name, and admin password. So our admin table is created. Now I'll show you how to connect to the database, connect to MySQL from Python. So we'll create a new Python file, new file, Control S. We'll save it as db helper.py, and we'll just test our code once, whether if it is able to connect to our DBs or not. So import MySQL dot connector that you have to import. This is the module which will help you to connect to the Python database. Now I will just get my DB, and this I will use MySQL dot connector dot connect, and we have to pass host. For us, host would be localhost, as we are running the local machine. Then next would be user. We are using a root user. I don't want to make it much complicated by adding new user, setting new password, and everything. I'll use the same credential that we used while installing MySQL. So next is password. I've given my password 123. So this will give me a DB. Now I will take a cursor. My cursor is the variable that will my DB dot. I'll get a cursor from this DB, and I'll write a SQL statement that I'll execute. This will be select all from. So earlier we saw that there was under world schema there was a city country table. So the same thing. we'll use that. Select all from world schema dot table city. Just use this, and I will execute this statement. My cursor dot execute. I will execute this SQL statement, and the result will be my cursor. After execution of the statement, I have to fetch the result, fetch all, and then I will print whatever result I got. So let's see what result we are getting. First, I'll print like what kind of data type I'll be getting from this. So I'll be just, this is a very good utility, type of the variable. So I'm trying to fetch the result. I want to see what kind of variable is this. Is it a list? Is it a tuple? Is it a dictionary? So I'll do this. So let's see. I'll save this. Control F5. I'll run this. You can see we got the results, but I want to see what kind of. Okay. So this was a list. So it has given that this is type of my result is a list. Now list is something that you can iterate on. Instead of printing my result, what we can do is create a for loop, and for X in this collection, my result, I want to print X. Control F5. So you can see all this I got. If you want to check what is the type of this variable X, it should be a tuple, but you can check that as well. Print of type of X. Okay, you will see that it's a tuple. Just verify that. So we got a tuple data type. So now you can see that I was able to connect to the MySQL database using Python, and I was able to fetch the data from the city table which was already there from the world schema that I was able to do. Now we want to use our admin table, our my project and the admin. So let's add some data first. So what we'll do, we'll write an insert statement, insert into, and this is the table name. Table name will be my project dot admin table, and we want to insert into all the columns. So we won't give the column name, we'll give the values. So first was, as you remember, for admin ID was a number. I will start from 1001. Then admin name will give John Doe, and a password for the admin. So let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6, a weak password, and I will run this, execute this statement. So insert was successful. As you can see at the bottom, one value was affected. Now if you want to see the data that we inserted, select all from, I'll just do a copy paste this. I'll run the statement, selected the statement, and I've run it. You can see it was 1001 John Doe. So similar to this, I will add one more admin. Jane Dove, and I will do the password as my password, and I will run this statement. So one more was added, and I'll see what are the data that is there. You can see that there's one with admin ID 1001, John Doe, Jane Doe, and there's a password. So now we have, we are happy with just two admins here. We'll go back to our program. Earlier it was querying the world.city. I will see if I can query my project dot admin table, if I can able to look into it. I'll just delete the type. I'll save and I will run it, Control F5. Yes, you can see that I got these two, John Doe and Jane Doe. So till here our program is working perfectly. Now when a user input the admin password, you have both admin ID and admin password, we will be checking whether there is an entry in the table which is having this admin ID and with this admin password. That's what we'll check. So first we can check whether the admin ID that the user entered, that is valid or not. So this DB helper, I have provided a global scope of this. So this will be there. Now I will write a method that can check whether ID exists or not. So what I will do is I will define a method here, def check admin ID. It will accept a variable name admin ID, and this one will, so my DB is a global variable, so, and I will have this here inside this method. So you will have an admin ID, and I want to check if this ID exists or not. So in SQL, what you do is select all from my project.admin, where admin ID equals 1001, something like this, right? Now if I'll run this, I'll get one call. So same thing I have to call from my Python project. So my SQL statement would be, I've just copied there to yes. Okay. I haven't copied the entire thing. I will copy the statement where admin ID equals to, and we will just use this notation to create a SQL statement, and we will fill this admin ID in here. So I'll just print the SQL statement as well, what we're going to execute, and then we'll execute this statement, and we'll use the same one that we have written earlier. And we'll call this, how we can use it, I have to import this db underscore helper. So what I'll do is, I will import db underscore helper in our main project, and here what I can do is, I will call db helper dot check admin ID, and I'll pass this admin ID what we got from the input. Okay, and I want some return value as well. We'll have where is valid admin ID. Okay, sorry, Python, you don't have to define the variable, and we will see what is there. For now, I'll just comment out these two, and I will print whatever we get from this method. I'm not returning anything. So let's see. I'll return something. I'll return OK for now. Now I will run this. Control F5. It asks for the ID 1001. Enter. Now the flow is I entered this 1001. It went to dbhelper.py and it called this my admin ID method. There I executed this SQL which I printed here. Select all from my project.admin where admin ID is this. Now you got these three. If I enter some incorrect admin ID, let's see what I'll get. Control F5. I know admin ID is not there with 11, so I'm getting an empty list. So what I can do is if my result dot. So what we can do is if not my result, so this will do the empty check. Return false. Return. Okay. In Python you don't have a small. You have a false with a first alphabet capital. Otherwise, return true. So if the result is empty, we are returning false. Else, what we can do is instead of returning true or false, we can return a string. So what we'll do is we'll return a false string, and if it's true, what we can do is we can return the admin name. So let's see how we can access the first element of this list. So whatever is returning, I am printing it. Okay. So I will enter 11, which is not a valid admin. I got false. So again, I will run it. I will enter a valid admin and enter. I got list of 0. So now tuple, I want to get this John Doe, which is the second in the tuple. So what I can do is I know that I have this 3 data in my tuple. So we know this is a tuple because my result was a list of tuple that we saw earlier. Now my result dot 0th element will be a tuple, and from the tuple we want to choose the second element. So that we can do by this is the 0th element, this is the first element. So to do this, we'll go back to main.py and we'll again run it. Control F5 and I'll give 1001. See what I got from there, John Doe. Now I'll just say admin name, and if my admin name is false, then I will print that no such admin exists, and I will get out of the program. Otherwise, our execution will come here. We will have a otherwise what I'll do is I will print please enter password for admin. Instead of admin ID, I'll give the admin name because if we are coming till here, we are not returning in here with a false value. That means the admin ID was valid. Now we'll ask password for that particular admin. So we'll run it again. Say 1002. See, 1002 was there. I queried this table, select all from my project where admin ID is 1002. For 1002, you can see the admin was Jane Dove. So that we got, and Jane Dove was in the admin name. Then we printed, please enter password for the admin, Jane Dove. And what if we entered the incorrect admin? Run it again, Control F5, ID, incorrect ID I'll give. What happened? No such admin exists, and we came out of our program. Now I will ask for the admin password. Next, whatever user will input, that will be the admin password. And we'll write one more helper method that will check admin password. And this will have so again the same thing. This time what I will do is select all from my project admin, and this will have two things: my admin ID and admin password. Two argument will be sending, where admin ID is 0th and we had this admin underscore password. So admin underscore password equals to the password. So the first placeholder will be replaced by admin ID, and the second placeholder will be replaced by admin password, whatever we are sending. Let's see if our SQL statement is being constructed properly or not. We'll just test this. So the admin password, whatever was entered, I will again just call the db helper dot check admin password, and it will take two values, admin ID and the admin password that was entered right now. We'll run it. Control F5. So ID 1001, database. So now please enter password for admin John Doe. I'll just do something. Now our SQL is select all from my project admin, where admin ID is this and admin password is this. So our SQL is constructed, SQL statement is constructed properly. Now quickly completing this, what I will do is I'll execute the same thing, just copy paste from here. My cursor dot execute the SQL statement. Now I'll again get the result. Now if the username and password matches, then we'll get something. Otherwise, if the result is empty, we'll return false. If the result is not empty, we'll get the cursor will get a tuple, which will have the first one will be first element will be the ID, second element will be a name, and third will be password. So we'll just return the name if the password was entered, if the password entered was correct. We'll have a variable. We'll just name it as password result, and we'll see what we got from the database. This is a password result, and we'll just run this program now. ID 1001. Please enter the password for admin John Doe. And if I entered some incorrect password, I got a false. Okay, as the admin password sent was this. I'll again run it. Control F5. ID 1001. What is the password for 1001? Let's see. Let's create a database. What we entered here. So 123456 was the password. So 123456. I'll enter. So this time we didn't got the false. We got the name. That means here also we can do the same thing. If password result is false, that means print invalid password for user dot format for the user. This was entered, and then we will return from the program. We don't do anything, and or otherwise we'll print welcome this user, and we'll pass the admin name. If we come here, that means admin name, admin ID was proper. That's the reason we got an admin name. And since admin name was proper, admin ID was proper, we asked for the password for that particular admin. Then we checked whether the password provided was fine or not. It was not false. Then we'll come here and we'll say that welcome this admin. So we'll run it. Control F5. 1001. You want the password 456. So password is fine. Welcome John Doe. It came. Now I'll run it again. Control F5. 1001. Now they're asking for the password. I'll give some incorrect password. You got a message. Invalid password for the user John Doe, and we went out. So, so now we were able to validate the user, the admin user and the admin password, and we were able to show the connectivity with MySQL. In the next video, I'll be showing you how to provide the option of adding a student, adding a teacher, deleting a teacher, or updating a student detail. So that I will do in the next video. So if this video was clear, then if this was helpful for you, then please let me know in the comment. And if you have any doubt, you can ask that in the comment. I will try my best to answer your question. And if you are happy with this video, please like my video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll meet again in the next part where we'll be adding the student database. Till then, have a good rest of the day. Bye bye.